let's talk just very briefly the way our body works naturally. And I'm going to use my elbow as an example. If I move my elbow this way, well, I'm going to back up for a second. The only way we can make motion in our body is to contract a muscle. Well, what is contraction? Contraction is when a muscle tightens. And when a muscle tightens, it gets shorter. So that means as I do this, that's funny because it looks like my arm is getting longer, but some part of my body is getting shorter to make that happen. So let's think about that. If I contract my tricep, then I'm pulling my elbow. So this squeezes and it pulls my elbow. Now I contract my bicep and it's going to squeeze and pull my elbow this way. Squeeze, squeeze. So what if this is about our efficiency exercises, which we'll talk about later on, either in this part or another part. What if I squeeze here, contract there, and keep it squeezed, and now squeeze here? I'm really inefficient. So efficiency is about that, that story of driving my car from Portland to Seattle with 6 tanks of gas. Here's 6 tanks of gas work. Squeeze, hold that squeeze, now squeeze here, go! There's 6 tanks of gas. Versus the car that was half a tank of gas, squeeze, let this go. Totally relaxed and soft, squeeze, oh, that's easier. So that's just the concept that we have to make movement in our body. We have 2 different muscle groups working. We tend to forget that or not even be aware of it. And the more we can be aware of that, especially in our technical training, the more our technique develops. So that's what this next exercise of strengthening is about. We're going to identify, well, which muscle is it that's, not even think about which muscle, but which direction is it. Now work on those muscles to make them stronger, and now do something different and work on the other direction muscles. All right, first one is lifting. So hold the rubber band. Watch me carefully because this is a little bit confusing. So hold the rubber band in your left thumb. Let it just dangle like this. All right, and now take your pinky. It's a little bit of an acrobatic move here. Take your pinky and go through the rubber band. So what you see is the rubber band's connected between your pinky and your thumb. And now hold your violin. And so the rubber band, all I did is I'm connected there between pinky and thumb, and it's now below the neck of the violin. You may have to fiddle with where the rubber band is on your finger so it doesn't slide off, and you can experiment with that. And now, with this hand shape we just had, you're going to lift your 4th finger up and let it go back down. So we are strengthening the lifting muscle of your 4th finger. Now that muscle is not just right here. That muscle is down here. And to prove that, if you set your bow down and you feel where in your arm do you feel the muscles working? I feel right here. Isn't that strange? Muscles that are down here. Look, you can even see that. See that? So there's muscles and tendons that are getting shorter down here. They're squeezing down here, and it's pulling my finger up. And I get to see that and strengthen it with the rubber band. Now make sure you're doing it with good technique so your finger is pointing at the string, your laser pointer. All right, change fingers. Put your rubber band around your 3rd finger now. So now the rubber band is connected between your thumb and your 3rd finger. Then hold the violin, hold your 4th finger down, and this can be tricky. Let your wrist be soft, don't let it poke out or collapse. And you might feel with your hand again, is it the same muscle? Is it different? It will have some difference because you have a different tendon attaching to muscles that go to a different finger. All right? Anybody grossed out by this? Now around your 2nd finger. And you're going to lift there. Now, if your rubber band is too short, this will be very tight. If it's too long, it will be very floppy and you're not going to feel any resistance or enough resistance. So you have to find the right rubber band. I've searched the world over for my favorite rubber bands and I've found them. And then after a while they wear out, they get too stretched out and you have to replace it. First finger now. So now rubber band is attached between thumb and first finger. And this feeling will feel like your first finger is kind of opening up from the base joint. It's opening up. Because I don't want to do this. That's not the motion I'm strengthening. And again, you can feel with the other hand, where is that movement? Great. Okay, so now we've just strengthened the lifting muscle. You can shake your hand out. Next, we're going to strengthen the opposite muscle group, the dropping. So you hold the rubber band in your right hand, and you loop it around your pinky, and then you can control the tension here. So I'm dropping my finger and lifting it, dropping, lifting. And so it's the dropping muscle that I am strengthening. And I hold the rubber band at an angle where it's helping me. And you can change to the third finger then, same thing. Change the second finger, same thing. Keep your finger curved, keep your laser pointer pointed at the string. Change to the first finger. Excellent. Now we've strengthened dropping and lifting, both. Let's now strengthen the stretching. All right? So the first one, let's do stretching up. So hook the rubber band around your G string peg. If you're a violist, around the C string peg. And hold it in your pinky. So now I'm hooked onto my pinky. And open up your fingers, and you're going to put the rubber band under your fingers, under the neck, and you're going to hold the violin. That can get a little bit confusing, so let me show you again. Hook the rubber band around the G string peg, take your pinky, go through the rubber band, open your fingers, rubber band under your fingers, around and underneath the neck. So my fingers are over, holding the violin normally, and the rubber band is underneath my fingers and underneath the neck, connected to the G string peg. All right, so now you can slide your hand up so you get the tension you want, or slide it down to release the tension, and adjust where the rubber band is on your pinky, and slide your pinky, stretch your pinky up and down. So I'm like anchor and stretch. I'm just anchoring my other fingers and stretching my fourth finger. Again, watch your wrist, it's not involved. Okay, change the third finger. Again, if you want to slide up and give yourself more tension, or slide down to release the tension, you can control that. And again, feel free to adjust where the rubber band is. I find if I move it closer to my fingernail, it doesn't slide off my finger. If my rubber band is too loose or too long, I need to slide up higher. If it's too short, I'm going to be all the way down here. That's okay. You can adjust for it, rubber band size this way. And then switch to your second finger, anchoring the lower finger. And then first finger is a little bit tricky. I have to slide up quite a bit higher and get my other fingers higher. And that's how I'm working on that one. Okay, so now the last one is we have to stretch down. So this is another one. Hold the rubber band in your right hand. Take your pinky through the rubber band. And be careful not to snap yourself in the face. Hold your hand in first position. And you're going to provide the resistance by pulling towards your face. Be careful. And you're going to stretch your finger down and let it come back up. Stretch it down, back up. Stretch it down, back up. Then figure out how to change to the third finger. Stretch down, relax up. Stretch down, relax up. And again, if your wrist is helping release some of the tension, doesn't have to be so much. Change the second position, second finger, excuse me. Stretch down, relax up. And then lastly, first finger. And I always anchor, when I can, the finger above, so I'm pulling against something. Okay, those are 4 rubber band exercises. Lifting was around this thumb, and I am strengthening the lifting. Then I had dropping, where I had my rubber band in the other hand, and I was strengthening the dropping muscles. I had stretch up, which was around the G string peg, and my finger was stretching up. And lastly, I had stretching down, where I hold it in my hand, my right hand, and I stretch down. That's strengthening.